Copilot work for you, proven strategies and takeaways. While the benefits of Microsoft 365 Copilot are clear, ensuring a smooth and secure rollout requires thorough preparation. Today's cloud office hours will focus on the critical steps to achieve a successful Copilot rollout. So with that, please join me in welcoming Noah Sparks, who will be co-hosting this presentation. Noah is a culture and change strategist and community igniter at Planet Technologies. Since coming to Planet in August 2020, Noah has been on a mission to empower others through storytelling, innovative technology, adoption strategies, all with a focus on M365 adoption and change management. Noah's approach embraces positive disruption, continuous curiosity, and authentic conversations to drive impactful results. And yes, folks, he really does talk like that. So I just want to describe him as he really is. He's a great guy, and you're going to love him. Welcome to the program, Noah. We're really glad that you joined us today.
Thank you. Eager to be with you.
Yeah. Well, we have a full agenda today, so let's go ahead and get started. So successfully adopting Microsoft Copilot isn't just about turning on a new tool. It's about rethinking how we work, from enhancing productivity to reshaping workflows. The journey to Copilot success requires thoughtful planning, clear communication, continuous learning. And at Planet Technologies, we've guided numerous organizations through the Copilot projects that we're doing, uncovering key insights along the way. Today, we'll share these valuable lessons to help you navigate your own success journey. We'll address common adoption concerns, explore the power of pilot programs, and discuss essential skills and strategies for long-term success. Whether you're just getting started or looking to optimize your existing Copilot implementation, this webinar is designed to provide you with actionable takeaways. So let's dive in and discover how Microsoft Copilot can work for you. As always, we love to give a quick poll. So if you could, please, we're going to launch the poll right now. Just if you could, it's all anonymous. So we'd love to see where you are in your journey. Have you gotten started yet? Are you starting to work on some of your security, your content permissions, or your organizational readiness? Or are you ready to go and you're launching and measuring outcomes already? We'd love to hear. So please put it in the, respond to the chat. Again, this is anonymous, so don't be shy. So what does a successful Copilot rollout look like? That's our topic today. And then we'll talk about how to get there based on best practices and our own experiences. What are the common concerns from IT, decision makers, and users regarding the adoption of Copilot, and how can we address them? Then we'll walk through Copilot adoption journey and explain the importance of each stage. Next, what do people need to learn? Then how to identify valuable use cases for Copilot and how organizations effectively implement them. What are the main strategies leading to success? And of course, we'll save time for feedback and questions. Please, we'd love this to be interactive. We have some great people on this call today. We got Noah, we've got Larissa from our Evolve team, training team. We got Jen Mason, we've got Tim Lynch. So lots of great organizational change management folks on the call today. Please ask your questions. This is your chance to get them answered. So while preparing for this, Noah and I came up with the following items, but we'd love to hear, what your thoughts are on what does a successful M365 Copilot deployment look like. So we came up with, governance. It needs to be developed and followed. You need to know your target use cases with an ROI defined, and obviously achieving it's the ultimate goal. But what are your use cases? Adoption, showing that there's a growing trend is huge, right? Achieving more with less, having an engaged workforce. Security concerns are identified and controlled. You'll never say remediated because there's always going to be work to do. But concerns are acknowledged and addressed. And this is the big one here, and typically where we start with our customer journey. So let's talk about that in a minute. But again, we'll ask this question again at the end, and I'm really think about this while we're going through the presentation today. What are your criteria for successful Copilot deployments? So how do we get to success? Let's talk about it at a high level. When looking to deploy successful Copilot projects, the first thing you need to look at is Microsoft best practices, obviously. A Copilot readiness checklist should include key elements such as sponsorship, scenario planning, security measures. It's essential that all those components are in place before you implement. When it comes to the human change, or as we call it, organizational change management, we must prepare your organization and employees for the AI transformation that they're going through. This starts by choosing the groups and teams in your organization that are most AI ready. Starting this way gets better group value out of Copilot as opposed to piloting with IT or sprinkling Copilot among individuals. That's great to do, but where you're going to see better benefits is with groups as well. So think about a combination of both. When you have identified the right groups, launch a pilot program to help employees in IT understand and adapt to the new AI tools. By providing necessary training and support, you can maintain a smooth transition and maximize the benefits of Copilot. So technical readiness involves addressing the technical deployment and optimization, including governance, security, compliance, management. Making sure that your technical infrastructure is ready and optimized for Copilot is critical for a successful implementation. According to Microsoft, the implementation journey is then divided into 4 phases: get ready, onboard, engage, deliver, impact, and extend and optimize. Each phase builds on previous, maintaining a structured and strategic implementation approach. Through this journey, work streams support each other to deliver a maximum value and ROI. So in summary, the process of implementing Microsoft 365 Copilot involves a well-planned and coordinated effort across your organization. At Planet, we've taken Microsoft's best practices and then built upon them by our own experiences as a Microsoft Jump partner for over a year now. As you can see, that this journey can and will take many months, but the key is to start and make sure that the right folks are at the table to address their concerns. Through our experience, we've seen that technical concern can be identified and addressed by discovery planning and then readiness and remediation. What we're talking about here is technical and content readiness. Technical meaning, are the right tools in place to protect data? Content readiness, is your data in the cloud being governed and correctly being provisioned and permissioned? Please note that when we talk about readiness and remediation, whether it be technical content or not, it is an ongoing job to monitor this. And specifically, this is not a one-time thing. We've done quite a few webinars on getting your data in order and the security of this. So for today's conversation, we're taking a different approach, and we're going to talk about the organizational change of deploying Copilot, or the human side of this change, which, by the way, will also be an ongoing need. So specifically today, we'll spend our time mostly on discovery and planning, user enablement, continuous evaluation, adoption, and development. Even Microsoft says technical and content readiness, 70% of the work for a successful rollout is organizational readiness, training, and ongoing proactive adoption work. So with that, let's start talking about discovery and planning. One of the first things you'll want to do when getting ready to deploy Copilot is get your plan together on how to handle concerns. I've sat in lots of conversations last few months with PY or PRE from our organizational change management group with customers, and it's important to understand these concerns from 3 different lenses: IT, decision makers, and end users. Time will be needed to collect and analyze and address these concerns, and how you address them will ultimately become part of your rollout plan and communications. Most concerns will fall within 3 different types or groups. IT often worries about readiness, the state of their environment, and the potential exposure of sensitive information. Decision makers are focused on defining success, measuring ROI, setting policies, and addressing potential biases. Finally, end users have questions about what Copilot is, its functionality, trustworthiness, search capabilities, learning over time, visibility, and job security, of course. So how do we overcome Microsoft Copilot concerns? In this slide, we outline strategies to address the concern of IT decision makers and end users. For IT, they often feel unprepared, describe their environment as chaotic, worry about the discovery of sensitive information, question whether Microsoft learns about their data and seeks ways to control what Copilot can surface. Identifying and managing risk is also a significant concern. They worry about security, privacy, data hygiene. For IT, we recommend discovery sessions and workshops, education, tooling, and a pilot program to get experience. The solution is conduct workshops on the best practices and for data hygiene and help to build confidence. Implementing tools like SharePoint Advanced Management and Microsoft Purview ensure that sensitive data remains protected. The key here is strong governance and using the tools Microsoft provides. Also, IT has readiness concerns like we're not ready. Many IT teams fear that deploying Copilot too quickly will expose security gaps and create chaos as users rush to adopt it. The key here is a pilot program. This can help you mitigate these risks. It allows organizations to test Copilot in a controlled setting, address issues early, and gradually roll it out. Additionally, restricting Copilot's access to specific data at first can ease concerns. The key here is start with a pilot. Next, we address the concerns of decision makers. Decision makers should focus on measurement, responsible AI guidance, and education. They need clarity on what constitutes a Copilot success and how to measure it. They also are interested in understanding ROI, establishing a Copilot policy, deciding who should use Copilot, and identifying any biases within the service. Licensing disparities, access concerns, who gets access to Copilot. The solution here is clear guidelines. Licensing expectations and best practices can reduce friction. Transparency about the decision-making process is crucial by leadership. Clear policies and communication here is absolutely key. Finally, workforce concerns. People aren't using Copilot. Adoption challenges, fears about AI biases and job security can slow down usage. The solution here is address these concerns proactively. Educate your users on the biases that Microsoft responsible AI principles have, and position Copilot as a productivity enhancer, not a job replacement. Encouraging leadership involvement to drive engagement is crucial. The key here is awareness and leadership support. Return on investment concerns. What will my ROI look like? Decision makers want to understand whether Copilot benefits justify the cost. We need to define clear success metrics here. And it depends on two factors, really. User adoption. Copilot must be used regularly to create value, and business process optimization, leveraging Copilot agents in the future or even today to automate tasks. The key here is actionable measurement and tracking. Lastly, for end users, communications, education practice, and experience sharing are key items that the users need to be aware of. Trust is a major issue here, as is fear of plagiarism, possibly. Users also want to know if they can use Copilot to search the web, how long it takes to learn, who sees their prompts, and whether Copilot will take their jobs. Users will have awareness and understanding concerns, and it's crucial that we listen and we hear them and we have answers for them. The abundance of AI marketing messages can also create confusion about what Copilot actually does and how it works. Users may also worry about privacy and who can see their prompts. So what is success here is? Success depends on your user enablement, not just technical deployment. Training sessions here should focus on understanding Copilot's capabilities, exploring real-world use cases, and hands-on practice to build confidence. The key here is consistent education and practice and ongoing education and practice. So with that, the answer to all these concerns is starting a pilot. A well-structured pilot helps organizations identify potential issues early. It helps you can target safe and secure data first. You can gather user feedback, adjust strategies before a full rollout. And given the rapid evolution of AI, launching a pilot early helps organizations stay ahead of the curve. Now I'm going to turn it over to Noah, who's going to start talking to us about the adoption journey. So Noah, if you want to go ahead and take over the deck, please do so at this time.
Thanks all. And I just wanted to bring back to our attention the poll. So you all were gracious enough to give us some insights into where you are in the journey. Roughly a third of us responded that we have not started. So inertia has got the better of us here, and we have not put in, other than attending this webinar. I think that's a clear indication of where you might be headed in the near future. Others responded, a little over half said some technical readiness. So you have begun to explore the ways in which you can prepare for the eventuality of Copilot being in your environment. I applaud you. That's fantastic. And there's the remainder, some content readiness, some organizational readiness. So I'm thrilled to see that organizational readiness actually outpaces the content readiness, because you do indeed have pent-up demand. I have worked with several organizations where the split and bring your own AI is alive and well. People want these advantages in their workday and are turning to other methods, if not provided sanctioned ones within their tech stack. So sadly, we had 0 respond that they're ready to launch. And that's completely understandable. What we look at here in our approach is clearly you can't do anything without the environment being readied. So the work that you all do on the very technical side of things is extremely important, but it's the only the starting point. You then turn your attention, once the environment's ready, what are the best practices? How do we introduce people to Copilot? How do we sign licenses? All of that are top concerns. Some of those are addressed in launching a pilot. A pilot, typically you want a representative sample of all of the types of people that you'll have using Copilot or that you envision. And from the pilot, you can then fine tune the criteria for assigning license. Who gets a license, right? What is the criteria there? Identify the top audiences that would benefit from a license. All of those surface in this pilot. So if you continue to hesitate and postpone and procrastinate the day that Copilot makes its way into the organization, you're that much further behind without the intelligence and the insights that you have from a pilot. So you then see two circular processes here. These are iterative and they can run in parallel. I don't believe that they're sequential by any means, but we begin on the left here with the yellow. If people don't have a proper understanding of Copilot, we've seen time and again people bringing these crazy, wild expectations to what Copilot is going to do for them, and we've got to temper that somehow. We've been immersed in it in modern media, right, that portray AI in a certain way. Copilot is not that. I distinctly remember being with an executive assistant and she said, we're going to do a drawing and I want Copilot to just at random from my list of people, whoever entered the drawing, select 3 at random. Well, come to find out, it did a very good job. Copilot delivered a formula to do that in Excel, but not execute it itself. So Copilot did not indeed generate 3 random people from the list. There was no shortcut just asking Copilot to do it, because there's that expectation that yes, AI understands exactly what I'm wanting and it's going to execute just as I anticipated. When in reality, the formula was the better way to go to do the random generation. So hopefully we somehow have to get with our folks and help them understand this is not the AI that you might know from movies and TV shows, right? Let's temper that expectation and really focus you in on where the business value and the personal productivity value is to be seen. And once we do that, go ahead.
I was just going to make a comment there. So what you're saying is, is really interesting, Noah, because, what you can do with Copilot today is not what you can do with Copilot tomorrow. Like all of a sudden, what you just said next week could actually work, right? So like it's an ongoing thing, and it's not it's not you learn it once and you walk away from it, right?
Precisely. Yep. This is an ever shifting landscape, and unlike previous tools, there's no I hit this button and it does that, right? We have to constantly poke the box. I don't know if anyone is a fan of Seth Godin, but he wrote a book called Poke the Box and exploring the boundaries. If you do not invest time with Copilot, you will never know the boundaries. And I appreciate that executive assistant being vulnerable enough to allow us to practice there. So practice is the next word, and that's precisely what we intend for everyone that comes on the pilot journey and beyond. Is you must invest time with the experience. Microsoft made it an astute observation: until something becomes a part of our identity, it does not become a habit. And so, are you personally on this call, or your audience that you're seeking to serve, are we considering ourselves people who leverage generative AI to enhance our work? It comes down to that, right? Or is it, do we perceive Copilot as, yes, it's this thing that I know I'm supposed to be using to cut short drudgery and tedious work, um, and it's just sitting there nagging, right? But I don't embrace it. We may have some of those concerns that Ken mentioned earlier, and without any practice, without any dry runs, without bringing our curiosity to Copilot, we will never know what we're capable of with this new assistant, right? As we practice, we share. I was just on a call earlier today, and we host immersion sessions. They picked up on the need, and everyone comes to these realizations based on their felt need, and it never aligns on a timeline for everyone, right? But this individual said, I have to submit goals, right? In the next week or two, I have to submit goals. And they did mention that it has to be in the SMART methodology, right? SMART is, I'm not going to get it right. I think it's simple, measurable, actionable. You all may know better than I do. Regardless, because they came to this event and invested their attention, they saw that one of the prompts that we did was exactly that. Help me set my goals for professional development and leverage the SMART methodology or SMART framework. And by us sharing that, it led to a reflection from this individual in an interview that was a huge time saver for me, to simply put in the aspects of my goal and have it export to me the framework, right, and wired up to what I was needing. So if we are not actively sharing our experiences, we are doing ourselves a huge disservice. And so there are various ways in which we can share. Many might be familiar with the Center of Excellence concept. Microsoft has a specific way of doing that. I think there's even a install package if you'd like to leverage that. But essentially, you create a team and bring the party to the team and actively solicit people's experiences with Copilot. And if they're willing to share, that's precisely what we're after. And if you're looking for the slides to advance, we're still on this one. I apologize. So no confusion. We're still on 13. I'm just going around the yellow circle. The green is next. Yep. And in the sharing, we now have ideas colliding. And many ask us, particularly the IT team, they say, should we get one business function into the pilot? And I say, absolutely not. We want to cross-pollinate ideas across functions, so we get the full breadth of what Copilot is capable for us to collectively take advantage of. The measurements are getting constantly improving. So you, as I assume a majority of us here are IT, we have dashboards that will be included shortly for if we have licenses for Copilot, we will have access to Copilot dashboards. And you're constantly looking at those, saying, what are the entry points? Primarily people are coming in through Copilot chat. That's informative, right? Maybe there's less use on Copilot for Word or Excel. We can then tailor our campaigns and our interventions to bring awareness to those capabilities within Word and Excel and beyond. And that's the adjustment that we're talking about. You then come full circle to the educate, right? You're back to what else what else are we going to be curious about this week? And maybe you have themes for months. I've seen clients do that in trying to drive some focus out of your Copilot investment. On the value side, it's more use cases. So that's it. I'm sharing my personal experience with Copilot. I'm gaining productivity. I'm seeing benefits. On the value side, we're now looking beyond those individual productivity time saver type measures, and we're looking at business process, right? Could we streamline something about this process that we can then ripple to everyone that does this process? And now we have efficiency gains that ratchet up to hard dollars and allow us to make the business case to justify the spend, right? So we'll speak at length about identifying use cases later in the presentation. As you surface these use cases, I just throw them in a SharePoint list and we prioritize them based on impact. And the one thing you cannot omit is it's great that you have this dream. How realistic is it? Is it actually a viable option? And you may see things that are on the Microsoft roadmap that then address this, right? So we know the interpreter agent. We work with many organizations that are global and they need to address translation, right? This poor individual said, I attend one meeting, it's an executive, I attend one meeting and everyone, their native language is Spanish, and I'm the only one that does not speak Spanish. And so everyone has to cater to me. I'd like to flip that, right? So you may identify use cases that align to Microsoft's roadmap items with the interpreter agent or the facilitator agent in meetings or the project manager agent. So you need to align. Is this a viable option in the near term? Are we waiting on a roadmap item? And that helps you prioritize these. And then you go to the next part of the process and you seek to implement those. And the implementation is that it's a back and forth of, we believe that there's value in here. What's the KPI that we're actually ultimately looking to influence? And is it feasible to put an agent together that does this, that, and the other? And can we get into the private preview for Copilot actions, right? Maybe that's an exploration that we need to do. It's not the full features. It's not what's generally available that's going to get us across the line to implement. And the implementation phase could, in and of itself, be an organizational change initiative all up, because you're now asking people, hey, you're going to get this Copilot license and you're going to do this process differently. You're going to employ these prompts that will flow into this process and it will expedite what we're looking to do. You then cycle into the reviewing the best practices. Do we need to update or adjust any guidance that we're giving people as we onboard them to Copilot? And then you expand your vision, your ambition. That was great. What else can we do, right? That's the whole value cycle. And the reason why we speak in these terms is because we know that there is a real divide on what success looks like for various audiences. So if we look at this pyramid, at the top we see digital transformation. This is something where we are impacting culture, and that is extremely difficult work to do. Right? It's influencing how people behave, the mindset that they bring to work. That is difficult work. Business transformation is what we just spoke about, right? Bringing business processes to be streamlined. Adoption is the green one there, and then deployment is the first one. So without deployment, you can't get to any of the others, but you can see how this aligns to Copilot behaviors. You've deployed it. I have Copilot. Yes, that's true. am I doing anything with it, right? That's we hope to differentiate here um, what the various goalposts, if you will, are in our journey. So I have Copilot. The next one, if we look at adoption, yes, I'm using, and this is primarily what we're seeing in clients today is the standard stuff that is the path to use Copilot is well worn, right? I'm in a Teams meeting. Yes, I'm going to hit summarize or wait for the AI recap, right? I may not be querying meetings necessarily. Real time, hey, catch me up. I joined 10 minutes late. But those things that are well worn tend to have the bulk of our attention, and that drives adoption. Yes, people are adopting this, but can we take it further, right? And if we look at the example on the right, I rank resumes. So if I'm a recruiter, right, I rank resumes based on HR criteria and a job description and interview transcripts. Wow, that's going beyond adoption and influencing the process, right? Can Copilot really do that? Yes, yeah, it truly can. And if that saves you time as, in this instance, a recruiter, you get to better decisions faster and uh, spend less money, less time on the non-essentials. Culture at the top, I ask myself if and how, this harkens to the identity question, right? I ask myself if and how Copilot can help me with this task without biases. So I now bring a mindset, and this is crucial to get the success that you're looking for out of Copilot. You somehow need to extend into this mindset and have everyone embrace the opportunity that's in front of them. Looking at the learning path, we've touched on this a little bit, but to reiterate briefly here, if I don't know what Copilot, how Copilot operates and what it might do for me, I don't have a solid footing. I don't have a starting point, really. So we invite people to understand the ins and outs of what generative AI can do for them in their work. We learn and try to bring awareness to these common use cases, then have invite people. So what I've seen is champions will be identified for Copilot within their team, and they will work with others to understand their use cases, right? You've done the general ones that everyone's doing: summarize a meeting, summarize a document, create an FAQ. What are your use cases? And there are ways in which we can structure the sharing of that, which gets into the collective intelligence. How do we accelerate the pace at which we learn from each other, right? That it's not just learning from each other, but accelerating the pace so everyone can benefit from the experiences that we're having with Copilot. And that's the collective intelligence. There are experiences from Microsoft, the Microsoft community. I don't know, a prompt buddy, I don't believe is Microsoft proper, but there's a prompt buddy that slots into Teams, a Teams channel, and you can curate prompts and have leaderboards and say this individual is a top contributor and here are the most liked prompts, really driving the learning, the collective intelligence that we are seeking so we can learn faster. So those are things to keep top of mind as you look at your journey and build the skills that everyone needs in your organization as they embrace Copilot. Ken, I think we're going to talk about training topics and what might
Yep, absolutely.
be
Yeah, so
sequenced first.
Thanks. So yeah, the next topic we're going to talk about is training, and it's absolutely key. It's absolutely key to train on feature knowledge. So understanding what Copilot can do in a Microsoft 365 app is one thing. Understanding what Microsoft 365 Copilot chat is another, right? People don't get what is this chat thing versus what is Microsoft 365 Copilot. While they're tied together at the hip, sort of, right? They definitely do different things and they definitely produce different results. So, M365 Copilot is, Copilot built into the Word, all the M365 apps. People need to know best practices for meetings and tasks and document management. And then later on, talk about more advanced Copilot topics like agents and automating workflows. But that's kind of some of the feature knowledge that people need. People also need training on use cases, identifying how Copilot can help solve certain use cases. So, for instance, persona-based training could be very helpful for these folks if they saw exactly how, you know, different personas work with a Copilot. The art of the prompt is one of the very first things people need to learn, right? Learning to craft effective prompts is absolutely crucial. We're going to talk about a little tool that we have for that in a second. And then risk awareness, recognizing and mitigating AI risks like biases and inaccuracies, like things like educating on best practices, your own governance policy for your use of AI, data hygiene, permission management, fact checking, responsible AI. These are all things that are absolutely crucial. The key here is practical application and skill building is going to be needed for every single user of Copilot. So I talked about a tool. This is, if you guys aren't aware of this and you have an M365 Copilot license or even starting to use chat, there's a tool called Copilot Prompt Gallery, or they used to be called Copilot Lab, I believe. But it's a powerful tool designed to enhance productivity and creativity. And basically what it does, it allows you to discover and save prompts. Yes, that's right. You can actually save prompts that are already predefined for you, as well as your own prompts that you actually create and customize. So this becomes like a central warehouse for a place to go to find how to do things. And there's a nice drop down, as you can see. I want to find prompts that help me catch up, or I want to find prompts that help me to prepare for a meeting or prepare for things. So that there's some great ways to find the prompts that you're actually looking for here. And then you can actually share prompts with your colleagues as well as customize your own prompts. You can create your own collections. So these are all things that if you're not familiar with it, take a look at it. That web link at the bottom can be used by anybody. Take a look at this. It's a great way to centralize your prompts and get some really quick fun wins under your belt to try these things out. When looking for tools for IT, so we were just talking about what tools do end users need. Obviously, they need training tools, and that's just the basics, the Copilot Lab or library. But for IT users, things like Microsoft Purview, Microsoft Copilot Control System, and Viva Insights will be absolutely crucial for you to manage the system. So Microsoft came up with this new thing called Copilot Control Systems, and it's designed for IT to adopt and accelerate the value of copilots and agents. It includes things like data protection, management controls, and then finally, the big news here is we kind of been doing the management, the security for a while with these tools. In fact, some of them are still coming online, like the SharePoint Advanced Management and stuff like that. But the big thing now is Copilot Analytics, and this is a component of the new Copilot control system that is designed to help and accelerate business value, obviously, for the agents and the Copilot users. And it can be accessed off the admin center. So there's a dashboard and Viva Insights. Viva is actually the back end of this thing that's going to be doing all this work. And you're going to say, wait a second, I don't own Viva. Well, I don't know I think you said it earlier, Noah, but if you buy 50 or more seats of Copilot, you actually get Viva Insights one-to-one with every single Copilot seat you have. So you will have Viva Insights or Copilot Analytics moving forward. So just be aware of that. Then there's a new thing called the Copilot Business Impact Report for analyzing Copilot usage against key performing indicators. This is big. It obviously takes a lot of time to set up, and I've seen some folks doing that lately, and it's quite intensive, but it is a great way if you have KPIs that you could actually tie them to business outcomes and actually get reporting on it. So this is just a summary slide. I know we're starting to run a little bit long on time here. I want to make sure we have time for questions. And thanks, Tim, for putting the control system in the chat there. So the new Microsoft adoption report that's available now has 5 sections available to it. Things like how does Copilot usage compare across groups? If you have your user groups in your AD system, it can actually see, if you deployed Copilot, you can see which groups are using it, how they're using it, how do they compare across the apps, like I think Noah just showed a few minutes ago. What are the most frequently used Copilot features in each app? What are the trends across groups? These are all kind of really cool things, the breakdown of Copilot usage against groups again. And then this new business outcome and impact reporting, which then goes back to KPIs. I think, this is such a huge topic. We don't have time to fully flesh this out on this one, but I would love to see you already own in the future about measuring and monitoring Copilot usage, best practices, and things like that. So maybe that's a topic in the future. This is just a snapshot. We felt like we wanted to just kind of let you see what it kind of looked like. So this is the new Viva Insights or Copilot Analytics dashboard that you all have access to once you actually have some Copilot licenses in your tenant, 50 or more. I'm going to turn it back to Noah again and see if we can catch up a little bit on time. Noah, back to you, identifying use cases. Talk to us about it.
Yeah. So you see various methods to get at identifying use cases. Interviews is my go-to. That's the one that allows people to fully immerse me in the context, and you can use some sample questions that are coming up on the next slide. You can also use focus groups to help you prioritize these use cases that you've identified and collide ideas together. A survey out to the organization. What do you think is potentially most beneficial, or disadvantages in or mixed experiences with Copilot, right? Those things surface in surveys, and you see the training and material. Microsoft is excellent at putting out the top 10 prompts to try, right? Just slot that into a channel and help that along. And if we look at sample questions, right, if you don't know exactly what to ask people, all you have to do is be curious, and people will tell you what's top of mind. So what are pain points? How do people think that Copilot might alleviate some of these pain points? What are the positive outcomes of Copilot use? So if those come in handy, please tuck those away for later use. And then we kind of categorize use cases into these buckets. The first is simple, right? These are just prompts that we're using in our day-to-day work. Many have expressed interest in, I don't want to have to remember every Monday morning or every day to prompt Copilot. I just want it to run on a schedule. Good news, that's on the roadmap. That would be qualified as simple, in my opinion. So the next one, if we get a little more complex, SharePoint allows us to create agents, and that's specifically aimed towards knowledge retrieval. I don't know where the document, that's the most common complaint I get is it's impossible to keep our files organized in SharePoint. Can Copilot help? And yes, you can retrieve knowledge from all those documents, living, breathing documents, and have Copilot through the SharePoint agent allow us to shortcut that. If we look at the next category, it's business process optimization, and we're now looking to agents to expedite not only retrieval, but actions, taking actions. So based on whatever the trigger might be, we need Copilot to actually do something. So the project manager agent is an ideal use case here. If we say in a meeting, note this action item down and then assign it to so-and-so, that agent will actually execute that, right? And then we look to the final category, and it's autonomous process implementation. So this is going beyond waiting for a trigger, right? This is now an agent being autonomous and involving the human as needed. So the human's always in the loop when complex situations arise or whenever you tell it to. But that is the future of what many use cases will likely slot into. We want this agent to act like a person and not just take great notes or give us a first draft. We want them to do things and involve us as needed and consult us for decisions. So those are the categories of use cases that we like to frame things in. And winding up, we truly do need to set expectations with our folks as we get underway with Copilot. At the same time, we want them to dream big as they practice, and the business value is really what drives the ultimate outcome of what Copilot will do for your organization. So don't ignore curating those business the business case behind the use cases, and surface that value early and often. So what I understand, Janetta, I apologize if I did not pronounce your name right, is Copilot functionality available in SharePoint through a separate agent for SharePoint or through Copilot for Microsoft 365? The understanding I have, it surfaces in SharePoint, and you can also, as you're working with Copilot, you can bring that agent into your experience without ever needing to leave the Copilot experience. So you had mentioned the SharePoint knowledge agent, right? And it would then participate in that chat with you. So it is not a separate Copilot, if you will.
Yeah, so there's lots of work going on right now, and I'm not sure which type of tenant or what kind of customer you are, but in the commercial tenants, at least, and the EDU tenants, I know Tim has experienced seeing this firsthand, that for the time being right now, at least, agents are turned on by default, right? So if you have done nothing at all from an administration standpoint in your tenant, agents are on by default, and not only are they on by default, users are getting prompts every single day saying, try me out, try this out. And so just be aware that pretty much every SharePoint site now has an agent already, whether you're using it or not. It takes 2 seconds to look for it and find it. And this is these things work really well for knowledge banks of articles or things like that, or frequently asked, if all your content's in a certain folder or something, they work really awesome. The problem is though that the folks that own M365 licenses have, right now, that's how, in order to get access to this agent in the SharePoint and run things and make agents and stuff like that, you need a license. And so that's the thing moving forward. Right now, Microsoft is trialing it in some of the commercial and EDU license tenants. And so it's free of charge until June. And then after that, it's going to be a pay as you go. So if you start doing some work and create a whole bunch of agents and you're not licensed for M365, there's going to be a day of reckoning sometime in June that you're going to get messages saying, talk to your admin to start buying pay as you go buckets of credits. So just a heads up on that. That's not a bad thing. I mean, people are trying it out. They're getting a lot of usage out of it. But the other thing is that the admins need to be aware that this is going on as well, right? If they're not aware, then they should be aware, obviously. We'll move on because that's a topic for another day. But they're pretty cool to set up. It takes 2 seconds actually to create an agent in SharePoint. All right, so we are moving on, and I'd love more questions. Are we able to feed Copilot a document, PDF, Word, to use as additional knowledge base to improve content results? So are you saying, I'm confused, but you want to help, can you come off of Mike to ask the question and go a little bit more deeper? Are you able to feed a Copilot a document?
Yes.
In other words, you can
I
like
think
merge
being,
yeah. Go ahead, Noah.
I think what we're referring to is grounding, what most in the industry are calling grounding. So rather than using a very generalized large language model, you're trying to say, based on this knowledge that I've just given you, ground yourself and give me back a more targeted, more bespoke example, so or output.
Yep. You can even compare documents by doing a / this document, this document, compare, tell me the differences between them. You can do all kinds of things. So yeah, absolutely. You can certainly do what you're asking to do there. Again, with the paid version of Microsoft 365 Copilot.
Even in the free one.
Even in the free one?
You have up to a megabyte to ground the the chat per file. So, yep.
Okay.
Kind of exciting.
Any other
And
questions?
if you use the mobile app, you can get up to 5 megabytes.
Oh, see, Tim knows how to work the system. Thanks, Tim, for that tip. Any other questions? We'd love to open it up to some more questions. Now's your chance to ask our OCM folks and learning strategists who are on the call. All right, well, let me sort of kind of wrap things up a little bit. Let me take over control again. So in summary, this slide summarizes the strategies for long-term success. To sustain a Copilot adoption, organizations most focus on, providing education and support, like continuous training and knowledge sharing, workforce concerns there. The key there is awareness and leadership support for measurement and adjustments, tracking adoption and refining strategies. The awareness and understanding concerns there. The key is consistent education and practice and ongoing monitoring. For leadership, backing, driving Copilot engagement from the top is going to be absolutely crucial. And then return on investment concerns, again, actionable measurements, tracking, identifying your KPIs, your metrics that you want to use. And then some folks are worried about like who gets access to licensing, who doesn't, licensing disparities. So having clear policies and communications from the leadership support is absolutely crucial. Governance and security, that's pretty much straightforward. Things like security, privacy, data hygiene concerns. The key there is strong governance and ongoing monitoring. And then use case expansion, identifying, new opportunities for AI. And again, like the capabilities keep changing every day. So being on top of that's key as well. So the key here is to start a pilot and get the process starting, and then make sure that you also plan on ongoing monitoring, especially in the needs of security and adoption. So I said I'd ask this question again. I'm happy I would love to hear your comments. Now that you've been through the presentation, what's your success of Copilot look like? What's going to make it push it over the line and convince people that this is something that it's worth the money and that kind of thing? So Jeanette has asked a question about KPIs and other measurement success things. Microsoft actually has some pre-canned KPIs that can be used for the business impact report. And Jeanette, I can certainly send you an email on the side. I don't have it handy on my right now, but there's certainly a whole list of KPIs. There's a great diagram. I can send you that offline, or we can send it. We can give it to Casey as well in the follow-up recording that you guys will get the link to. So great question. All right, so how do we get to success? Well, the process of implementing M365 Copilot involves a well-planned, coordinated effort across your organization. By following this structured approach, you'll successfully deploy Copilot to enhance your organization's productivity and efficiency. Don't forget about continuous evaluation, adoption, and development, as well as expanding out, optimizing, monitoring, and reporting. This is a soup to nuts. This is a mashup. I love the kids tell me this word, right? It's a mashup between the Microsoft best practices, the Copilot checklist, making sure the sponsor, the scenarios, the use cases, the security is in place, and then making sure that you give each one of the stakeholders, the IT, the decision makers, the end users, workshops to hear their concerns, because they're rightfully confused. They don't know the possible. You need to be able to address all those concerns so that you can actually tailor an organizational change management plan for your organization. Typically, we do that through a discovery and planning, readiness and remediation, user enablement, and then obviously the continuous evaluation. And then pilot, right? So piloting is absolutely crucial. We talked about that many times. And then obviously the ongoing effort. This is not a one-time thing. It's going to require ongoing feeding and care. So if you're going to buy Microsoft 365, just remember it's a journey. It takes a while. We've talked about earlier about 8 to 12 weeks or so from soup to nuts to getting started. The licenses are an investment, and if you want to get your ROI, you really need to have a good plan to deal with technical readiness, content readiness, and organizational readiness. Microsoft says that 70% of the work in rolling out Copilot is really the organizational change management, training, and ongoing proactive work. So as a Microsoft Jumpstart partner for over a year now, we've actually condensed this process down to about 9 weeks. So if you're interested in a follow-up conversation, we'd be happy to talk to you about how we can get you up and running in 9 weeks. This also includes roughly 3 months of adoption and evolve services, which is our learning platform, and dedicated learning strategists to work with you on a monthly basis for adoption. So we're just throwing that out there. If you're interested, please follow up with us. Our learning platform is Copilot for Copilot is Evolve. Again, I mentioned it's our platform that has over 190,000 micro-learning videos, but some specifically, obviously, for Copilot and persona-based learning, which is absolutely crucial for rolling out Copilot. The prompt library only goes so far, right? You still have all those other things that you have to educate folks on. And so please look into this. If you're looking for some training and adoption services, we're here to help as well. And lastly, if you're interested in a 2-hour free workshop to kind of summarize this whole process, soup to nuts, what the challenges are, the benefits of Copilot, use cases and things like that, and some art of the possible conversations and demos, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy as part of the Already Own It program to get you up in a 2-hour session and have that conversation. Finally, I put some hand-picked, these are past webinars that we've done with the You Already Own It program over the last year on Copilot. Everything from securing the environment to mastering prompt engineering. So definitely take a look at this. This will probably be in the follow-up email as well as some helpful links. I included these because they're specifically about measuring and adoption. So definitely take a look at these helpful links. And then finally, make sure that you're using all your benefits for You Already Own It. Please reach out to us if you're not a part of the program. If you want to join, please let us know. We'll get you onboarded and you can start taking advantage of some of these great workshops that are on here. We have over 20 free workshops that are no cost, no sales environment to get you started on any of these topics. Our next office hours is on March 27th. Topic has not been defined yet. We have some ideas, but we'd love to hear from you if you have ideas as well. So please save the date, March 27th at 1 o'clock. It's always the fourth Thursday for the most part, and we would look forward to seeing you then. As always, one last poll. We'd love to hear how we did today. Please, when you get a chance, if you could fill that out. We've left a bunch of recommendations in here as well. We don't have time to go over them, but they'll be in the follow-up. And, thank you all for joining today, making Copilot work for you, proven strategies and takeaways. We hope you found the insights and strategies shared today valuable and inspiring. Remember, adopting Microsoft Copilot is not merely about integrating a new tool. It represents a transformative shift in how we operate and harness technology. By addressing common concerns, implementing strategic pilot programs, and focusing on continuous education and support, you can unlock the full potential of Copilot. As you embark on your Copilot journey, keep in mind the importance of proactive planning, listening to concerns, strong leadership, and commitment to continuous improvement. So with that said, embrace the journey, empower your team, and watch as Copilot revolutionizes your workplace. If you have questions or need further assistance, please feel free to reach out to us at any time. On behalf of Planet, I want to thank Noah for joining us today and all of you. We look forward to seeing you on the 27th. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you.